I'm in Italy this week. I've got a nice little gelato here, and I've got a question for you. What's the difference between ice cream and gelato? And in terms of business, how do you sell something that is so similar to something else? How do you stand out from the competition? My first tip is to recognize the situation. In B2B sales, a common problem is we get insulated. We're so used to talking about our own stuff, and maybe we only have a few competitors out there, and we may not realize there's competition. But the fact of the matter is, almost every industry, there's a good substitute or a good competitor that's offering almost the exact same product. So you've got to recognize that. Now, if you're selling something more transactional, almost the opposite problem is you're too worried about that. And when you're too worried about competitors, about somebody just walking down the road and buying the exact same product, there's a tendency to amp up the pressure. That's the wrong strategy as well. You absolutely don't want to amp up that pressure and create a salesiness. That will kill the situation for you. That'll kill your chances of winning a deal. Tip number 2, salesmanship really matters. There's been a lot of research and studies done on this point. As it turns out, people make buying decisions based on a variety of factors. Obviously, product is maybe chief among them, and price can make a difference as well. But studies show that between 25 and 50% of that buying decision is based on the salesperson. That's right, the salesmanship. How good a job do you do? How much do people like you? Now, I actually I led a research study a couple of years ago based on what factors of salesmanship really are the most important. Turns out the number one is credibility. Can they trust you? Reliability was right there as well. It's funny because I won a deal once based on reliability. It was a large deal, and after the fact, the procurement gal came up to me and said, you know what, a big difference maker was the fact that you responded to emails, you got back to us in a timely manner, and your competition didn't. So reliability, credibility, those are the key things. If everything else is the same, if you're selling a product where it's identical to a competitor, you're going to be the biggest difference maker. You've got to keep that in mind. And don't neglect likability either. People still buy from who they know, like, and trust. In some circles, that's kind of gone out of favor, saying, oh, the challenger sell says you don't need to be likable, you don't need relationships. I say it's still important, and it costs you nothing. So credibility, reliability, and likability, still very important factors in the world of sales. Next tip is to bring value. You've got to bring value in your interactions, whether by phone, whether by email, whether in person. Now, how do you do this? Well, first of all, it is expected that you are an expert in your industry, and certainly with your product, that you know some things, that you have some unique insights, some ideas. And so you want to approach things like you're sharing insights and ideas. Now, hopefully you've done some discovery and you've understood and you know a little bit about what your customers are facing. You know their existing challenges, and you can give them some insights, some tips to consider. Use this to your advantage. One thing I've done is I have created a slide deck, and this slide deck is like 4 or 5 slides. I've turned it into a PDF document, and I've titled this 5 Things to Consider Before Purchasing X. So whatever industry you're in, this is easy to do. You can create this short slide deck, 5 things to consider before purchasing X. And as you're talking with prospective clients, you can tell them, hey, Mr. Prospective Customer, whether or not you buy from me or the competition, here's a few things to consider during your research. And you can then deliver that. I've gotten a lot of traction out of this. I think it's a great way to bring a little bit of value. A lot of times customers, they don't know how to buy. They're just doing research, and to them, everything looks the same. So influence that a little bit by giving them something that they can learn and understand from. Bring value to your interactions. Next, and this is an important one, a product demonstration. You've got to find a way to get the customer to fall in love with your product, whatever it is that you sell. If you have a demonstration you can do, if you can do some sort of trial version, some sort of test where they can experience it firsthand if possible, that is the best opportunity that you're gonna have. So push to do a demonstration in person and be generous with a trial version, be generous with your offering there. That'll go a long ways. Even if your product is the same as your competition, that in-person demonstration, that trial version is going to really create a familiarization, which is very important. And this is easier to do in some industries than others. Hard to do if you're selling something that's not really tangible like insurance. Nevertheless, if you can, find a way to do a product demonstration in person. Here's the dirty little secret between ice cream and gelato. They're so close that I can barely tell them apart. In a blind taste test, I'd probably get it wrong. But in the real life business world, your competitor's product might be almost indistinguishable from your own. How are you going to stand out? Well, you do that by following these tips. You've got to realize that there's competition and understand that salesmanship really matters. Beyond that, you've got to bring value. And finally, you've got to demonstrate your product any way you can. It's best if somebody can feel it, touch it, and even taste it. I hope this video has been helpful for you.
If you like this video, you may want to check out my new book, which is being sold on Amazon. Look for a link in the description. As always, thanks for watching.